Hey guys, Adam Perry here with TrueDFS, and I am going to go over today's 11-game NHL DFS slate. We'll go over it for DraftKings, we'll go over it for FanDuel, we'll see where we're getting to. We'll do a little hand build just to get an idea for where the projections are looking, but then we'll run sims. We'll run portfolio on DraftKings, run a portfolio on FanDuel, see what it's looking like for MME today, and what the best plays are. So with that, let's get started. I've got the projections loaded up. You get these projections with TrueDFS.com. You also could get access to SaberSim, and really the price is right. It's like $30 more than you pay for SaberSim alone, but you get all the projections, the premium Discord, 2 sets of projections, and you get the Pater model for DFS and betting. There's a lot of stuff there, all in one package. NBA 2526 is the promo code. It's all caps, NBA 2526. So you get 30% off. So you actually pay less for your first month than you would pay for SaberSim. And you get everything on top of it. So yeah, I highly recommend it. Come join us. But yeah, let's go ahead and build. Just from the looks of it, looking at like our value scores here, Carolina's kind of bunching a little. No one's really bunching too much. You get a little bit of Minnesota with Kaprizov and Boldy. So maybe we'll go ahead and see what happens if you build with these guys. You know, we'll plug our projections in and we'll build for single entry, and we'll build for the portfolio MME build. But it is fun to do this. It gives us some no puck knowledge. Like I was looking over at St. Louis, trying to build stuff with them. Their power play is dirt cheap, but then again, we don't really know what their power play is. If you look at last game, they really mixed it up a bit. Tyler Tucker got power play one time with a 2D man with Falk. I don't think that's what they're going to do, but that's what happened. So stuff to look out for. They are going to come up and build because they're too cheap. What's up, Eagles? Who do you like today? Let me know. We could build with them too and see where it gets us. I like the way Carolina is looking just from a correlation perspective. They have full correlation on that top line, and the guys are popping for value. It's going to be Sean Walker on the power play 1. He's not as good a quarterback as Gustafsson, but Gustafsson is going to be out most likely. Just playing single entry today. Okay, well, this is a good way to do single entry if you're not using SaberSim, is take a look at the projection, see what looks good. Now, I imagine this also leads you to some ownership issues, but there's ways to work around that, and we could take a look at some teams for single entry. Carolina, the guys bunching up at the top of our value scores. So who else? It's Svechnikov, who's like a really good value coming in there. You could really load up on the power play. You could always correlate. I mean, goalie's expensive there. Now, Islanders, for what it's worth, are fully correlated as well. They're not going to have the same total. They're not going to pop for the same value. But let's see. Let's see who's coming up as our top goalie and plug it in. Hellebuck, not cheap, but a good value nonetheless against the Blackhawks. If you are playing single entry, it does make sense. You get that win bonus pretty easily. Let's see if we could correlate him with some of his guys. Can you do Scheifele? No. You could do a cheapo. You could do like Iafallo. Then you're going to have a pretty good amount for another one. You can get Malkin in there, Cirelli. Malkin on power play 1, a team with a decent total in Minnesota makes sense. Pinto's not bad. Ottawa's they've been scoring like crazy. You could do the correlation with Stankoven. Is he correlated with Svechnikov? Let's see. Or is he on line 2? No, he's on line 2. So we wouldn't get any correlation in that respect. But that's something to look out for. Who else was popping? If you're so inclined, you've got no one really bunching up. Oh, Minnesota was looking pretty good, right? But they're not cheap. But let's see how these correlations look on the Wild. You're obviously going to want Kaprizov. He's a stud. You got Rossi Johansson on EV1. Spurgeon is now on the power play 1, correct. Eriksson, Ek, and Tarasenko correlated. They are. So let's see what you could do. We don't have to stack the power play, but it's just an upside thoughts. Ek, Kaprizov, only 8,600 for Kaprizov. I mean, it's not cheap, but he's such a great player. Spurgeon, really cheap. Boyum no longer on power play 1. Now here's, I don't know, we don't have to pay up at goalie, but he's the one coming in as the top, so let's throw him in there. Let's look for a good point per dollar play. And this is another way we could do it, right? Is we could look at points per dollars and see who shows up and see if there's any correlated guys. Carolina 2 looking really nice point per dollar. So maybe we'll try that next. Okay, you could throw a Svechnikov in there. You could throw in a Mestikov. We could do double Kov. Why not? Get the Russians in. Jets here for Nemestikov. Oh, we can't have another winger. We really need is a center. So Reichel is going to be on power play 1 for Vancouver. Not a great total, but the price is right. And then you got plenty left. Can we correlate him? What do we get? You do. Yeah, do we really want? I mean, you got Hughes on power play 1 for New Jersey in San Jose. Looks nice. We could correlate. You could go like Roenick is going to be on power play 1 correlating with Eichel, and then you could pay up instead of Svechnikov, or you could pay down at goalie and get something. So a lot you could do with a Minnesota stack. You could also play the even strength. How much is Rossi? Not bad at 3,900. So a lot you could do. Now, what if we did sort point per dollar and you just wanted to get in like that power play of Vancouver? They're fully correlated too. And you throw in the cheapo Reichel, who's showing up as our top point per dollar center, which is kind of a position of scarcity today. And then you could do quite a bit. You got Pedersen, Besser, DeBrusk on the power play, Roenick, the cheapo. I mean, this is basically free. What do we want him with? A good Thatcher Demko? I think Lincoln might be in that, but we will see. Now you could do anything. You want to play Pasternak, Kaprizov, Kucherov. Let's see who's coming up as the top guy. Oh, we could play Jack Hughes and get him in the late night hammer. Correlate him with his. I mean, why not correlate him with his brother, right? On the power play. Great spot. Why not? Too bad we can't get all 3. You can get a Tuck in there. Tuck's pretty damn good. You get a Fialis. A lot you could do with Vancouver. Point per dollar. I mean, the total is not great, but St. Louis is not great either, right? And point per dollar, you're getting a ton. So let's see where we land if we run the Sims. I'm on FanDuel. So, okay, why don't we run FanDuel first and see where we get. I'll put Goldie's ownership in there. It's not using ownership to build our pool, but we still want a basis of comparison, and we think that our ownership's pretty damn sharp. So maybe we'll do some looks at like post-contest stuff. I think it'd be interesting to look at, like last night we had one game, we just had the showdown. Be kind of interesting to see what shows up as a good play in showdown, a good stack type. If these onslaughts, as we always get the onslaughts as the top EV lineups. I mean, we're learning something in that respect. Why don't we see if that's the way it goes, even with the showdown? So yeah, I mean, St. Louis is cheap at 3.1. We just don't know for sure what their lines are going to look like. We know what their even strength lines are going to look like, but what they're going to do in the power play, I mean, no idea. But they're so cheap. If you put in their power play, Sundqvist right there with Reichel is a great value. In the power play, Falk looks like he's going to be on power play 1. This is what we can see what DFO has projected. This is going to be a spot to look out for. Snuggerud on there. Snevich, Holloway, Carew. Okay. I mean, you can get Carew in there, and you could do anything you damn well please. Just throw in Binnington for sake of it. You can get Hughes, you can get McDavid. You're off of the ownership. I don't know. I like this St. Louis thing. Their power play is not good. I think maybe you throw in an even strength guy with them. You throw in a Shen there, or you could throw in Pius Suter. He's going to be cheap, and you could do anything. Go back to Helly. We can go McDavid. McDavid's going to be low owned. I apologize. I have a cough still. I'm going to go get some water. If you watch these streams, you know that I've had a cough for weeks, and I apologize. But thanks for keeping up with it. You must have too much if you do a full onslaught St. Louis. Ooh, I apologize. It's embarrassing. All right. Let's run. My FanDuel lineups. I already have them loaded in. I did not yet do that for DK, but I've got 75 in the lotto for FanDuel. And we'll see what we get to. Yeah, thanks for bearing with me in this month-long cough. Wish I was not doing it on stream. All right, 75 lineups. Where are we getting on FanDuel? Erik Karlsson, Sebastian Aho, Krieg. Pretty spread out. A lot of Pittsburgh bunching up. Carolina, Calgary. That's going to be our stacks, I imagine. Top stacks. Carolina, top stack on FanDuel. We'll see where we get on DraftKings. Followed by the very cheap Calgary in a good spot against Ottawa. I mean, Calgary is not great, but Ottawa gives up goals. They score goals, at least lately. But Calgary going to look pretty nice in this one. Ottawa on the other side. Winnipeg, Edmonton. So here's a FanDuel portfolio. So I ask, who am I playing on FanDuel? Who do I like? Well, using Goldie's projections, asking it for four-man stacks with correlation, grading the best ones. These are the ones that grade the best, right? I don't build the smaller stacks. They can sometimes grade well, but I only get a pool of 5,000 on a slate of 11 games. I want to make my 5,000 count. So I don't want like 400 crap stacks where, 380 of them are going to grade poorly, and I just wasted 380 of my 5,000. So I only want lineups that I think can be good candidate lineups and make it into my portfolio. So that is why I build the way I do. All right, let's go over to DraftKings, and we'll build for the poke check. This is the nice, they got the $20, they got the $5 today. We'll switch over to Goldie's stuff. We're going to do the same things with stacks. We want onslaughts. We want 4 threes. We don't want to accept anything less. And we'll build. No, so what are we doing? We're running play-by-play simulations. We're playing the games out in a Monte Carlo sim, right? We're saying this happens, this happens, this happens 100,000 times, right? And you're taking the lineup that would win that time, that would have the most fantasy points that time, right? Because our sim diversity slider, where do we have it? Okay, so we're saying we're taking an average of like the top sim diversity 8 is like the top 10 sims, let's say, taking an average saying this is what would win in it. This is the best lineup you could have. And we do that hundreds of thousands of times. We come up with 5,000 lineups that win in that play-by-play sim. Then we run them against the contest sim. So we say if the field is doing what we think they're going to do, and they're running these combinations with this ownership at this rate, then this is how our lineups are going to grade a priori, right? And we'll see afterwards how they grade, but that's how they're going to look. So it's really cool, sophisticated stuff. And, that's why I'm proud to sell it, right? So again, check out TrueDFS.com. Check out that promo code NBA 2526 all caps, right? I'm really proud of this stuff. I'm proud of what we do here. It's a process-oriented show, so I kind of do the same thing every day to show off what we do. There's great, there's touts out there who know a lot of puck, maybe more so than we do, but there's no one with a better process. So, and we're slowing it down a little as we're constraining it, right? Because we're telling it, cross off all of these options. We're going to constrain it to just these for the same reason I did on FanDuel. What's up, Eagles? Ran the Sims for your single, and you got 4-3 Carolina with Calgary. Okay. How big is the field, if you don't mind me asking, Eagles? I mean, that makes sense to me, though, just given what's popping. I would run it 10 minutes before lock, though, just to make sure as things sharpen up. Ownership should sharpen throughout the day. Alabama Jones, what's up? How often do six-man stacks win? I don't know how often, but they tend to grade pretty well. They seem to not be played enough and grade well, especially when we look at the 3-3-3. We see a lot of them grading well in the post-contest sims. We'll take a look. Let's take a look at the showdown and see what kind of stacks graded well in the showdown, right? Because that's like the extreme of it, right? We look at a 2-game slate, and even then the onslaught's graded well, Alabama. So they win. I saw Squid won the other day with a Dallas 6-man. I mean, that's one example, but they win. And I think they win enough to be profitable. And I don't think people play them enough, especially on the larger slates where outlier performances really matter. You want to capture as much as you can of that. I'm all for it. 891 people. Okay. So pretty small field, and it's single entry, not an MME thing. Makes sense. I imagine you're getting Svechnikov in there with the top 3 EV guys, Eagles. Then Calgary, you can get the top line all correlated. Who's your one-off, if you don't mind me asking? All right, let's run a 150 set on DraftKings for the poke check. This is going to be a fun slate, but this is going to be like you're going to have to watch all night because you got these late night hammers, these two teams with pretty solid totals and good value on Detroit too, even though they don't have the great total. So there's like a lot coming down in the late night hammer. If you think you're winning early, watch out because a lot of people are going to play New Jersey in some combination. They're not cheap, but it's the nut matchup against San Jose. San Jose themselves can score. Wouldn't mind Macklin Celebrini or anyone get to. All right. In our 150 set, here it is. New Jersey, our top-owned stack. Then Carolina, Ottawa, Calgary. Same sort of guys. You get the St. Louis in there with the St. Louis value we talked about. You don't get the Vancouver that we looked at. So maybe that's not as good a play as we thought. Let's try and see if we can run for like the 3-3-3 and see what stands out. Maybe we could run for a single entry too. See if we get that same Carolina, Calgary type thing, Eagles. But okay. So there you have it. Our top owned player, Jack Hughes, Kaprizov, Pasternak, not surprising. Kyle Connor, studs, so to speak. You get McDavid in there. Kucherov, he's still too cheap at 8,400, but you imagine that price is going to rise. Such a good player, but has not had the year yet. Now, one guy who doesn't project well ever in SaberSim that I think, like, just using a little bit of no puck knowledge needs the sims aren't capturing it is Rantanen. You know, you have him simmed out on EV1 and Power Play 1, but he's playing Power Play 1 and Power Play 2. And I don't think the sims capture that. So I think the Rantanen projection is always a little off. So I wouldn't mind, like, just boosting my Rantanen or Dallas exposure a bit. Dallas has had more concentrated time on ice this season than they had last season, and I don't think that's, like, really getting in the sims yet. So we'll see. Alabama is a way to have the util spot only have people from later games. It should do that automatically. Yeah. Do you mean, like, you just want to force in later guys into your portfolio? Because then you could just, like, play around with exposures, like we talked about in those comments. You know, you could just say, give me even more of these guys. So what do I have exposure wise? 4% Fiala. Say, give me 10% Fiala, and then rerun my portfolio. You could do something like that, Alabama. But to say just it will already know that you want the guys with the later games to be in the util spot. So if you have, like, a one-off in a later game, or you have a 3-man stack, 2-man, whatever it is, it's going to automatically insert them into the later spot. But that's a good question, and it's important. And if you're hand building, it's really important. And I got to tell you, when you look around the field, you sometimes see people who don't do that, and you're like, this person is either hand building or using Fantasy Cruncher or some outdated system, and there's you say that's where the edge is coming from to some extent, is the people who don't even have the wherewithal to put the later guys in the util spot. I see it. I still see it. And you imagine what other leaks they have, you know? But yeah, that's a total leak. So good question. I appreciate it. Let's build for a single entry on DK. You build for, like, what's the 891? Let's see what we get for this one. See what our top ROI lineup is. 2 on there. Delete that one. Let's see if we get the Carolina and Calgary as well, Eagles. Did you use Goldie's projections, or did you use SaberSims? That's going to affect things too. They'll change your pool up. Let's just see our top ROI lineup for the single entry. So rerun the Sims with that in mind. Then I want to take a look at last night's showdown and see what graded well. It'd be really interesting if you see the 5-man's grade well. You know, what will that tell you about correlation and how important it is? People always ask, what should you do? Use SaberSims. Okay, let's see with Goldie's Eagles how much that changes things, if at all. Okay, top ROI lineup. We want it in the Daily Dollar. Who do we get? So using Goldie's, our top ROI lineup is an Ottawa Onslaught. And you get to throw Kucherov in there. You get Carolina 2. Oh, this looks pretty good to me too. So a lot of Ottawa grading really well using Goldie's projections in the early part of the day. So it shows you how the inputs matter. The inputs really change your pool, and it changes the lineups you get graded, and really changes the outcome of the contest sims. So yeah, garbage in, garbage out, good in, good out. Not that SaberSim's not good. We're really proud of Goldie's projections. You can get them at TrueDFS.com. So anyway, let's take a look at yesterday's showdown and just see how much correlation would do for you in terms of grades. Look at the flagship, quote unquote flagship. It's only 5K to first. But hey, so top lineups in terms of sim ROI, you get a 4-2 as the top, but then 5-man, 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 4-2, 4-2, 5-man, 5-man. No 3-3s coming in. So what does this tell us? I mean, what does this tell us about an 11-game slate if correlation is so important on a 1-game slate? We saw this when we looked at the grades on the 2-game slate. Correlation is just one of those levers you could pull that you can't do otherwise. So it depends on the contest size. I mean, we could look at like a smaller contest, but correlation is king. 67 entrants. Let's see how correlation did. 3-3. It's there. It's plus EV. It's like the 10th best lineup. 5-man's crushing it though. And then the 4-2s. So correlation is key. If you like what you see with SaberSim, you're going to want to get the correlation. I happen to agree. It's one of those things that you could do in DFS. I mean, ownership, correlation, projection. We all have good projections. So keep that in mind. Stack, stack, stack. 5-man, 6-mans, 4-3s. But I don't think you're playing anything else on an 11-game slate. I don't even love the 4-3, to be honest. I want to take as much correlation as I can. I see in the post-contest sims that those are grading really well. They get underplayed, especially on these big slates. So there you have it. There's a look at today's slate. We went over DraftKings. We did a little hand build, got a little look at some of these charts to get some, sharpen our no puck knowledge and see where we could maybe improve on things. We took a look at MME for FanDuel. We took a look at MME for DraftKings. We looked at some post-contest sims. And with that, I will give one more plug, TrueDFS.com. NBA 2526, all caps, really helps us out. If you like and subscribe, and